Hey everyone, this is Bev from Art by Bedell. I hope you're having an awesome day. I hope you're finding some time to work in some art, maybe get a little messy, have a lot of fun, maybe even journal in your journal. Today I am making some collage papers. I seem to be on a kick with doing collage papers currently. I have been cleaning out a little bit and destashing some stuff, and I'm like, I have all these papers, I really need to do something with them. So what I'm starting with is a piece of ledger paper or sheet music. I'm using all other kinds of papers also, but today I want to show you what I'm doing with these. So if you remember in the last video, I made this texture paste. And so I have taken it and put it on my paper randomly. So there's some spots that doesn't have any, and then there's some spots that do. And that's what I'm after. So what I've done then is I've taken my papers and I've added some watercolor to them. And you can see how different it is in places where there isn't any of the texture paste. And then again, this one here also. These two were done just with solely watercolors. Now these two, I thought I would try some watercolors, and then I really like what I did, some watercolor crayons, I'm sorry, the Tim Holtz crayons, these. And I don't use them often enough, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to play with these too. So I got them out, and I scribbled two different shades of blue and some yellow. And let me just show you exactly what I did. I'm going to show you with the crayons, because we don't use our crayons very much. We use our watercolors, I think, more frequently. And so I think I want to show you with the crayons what I'm doing here. I'm going to pick two colors. Let's see. Let's go with a green. So I have a crushed olive, and I have a rustic wilderness. I can just scratch them here on my paper and see what I think of the colors. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's like a really lime spring green. And then this one is like a greener green. So I'm not real happy with the way that those two go together. I do have peacock feathers here also, or I could substitute with another green. Let's just see what peacock feathers looks like alongside the rustic wilderness. And so I'll put it here, and that's really blue, and I actually do like that better than this green. So I'm going to put away the crushed olive. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the rustic wilderness and the peacock feathers. And I'm going to take my piece of ledger paper. Hopefully we're in frame. There we go. And I'm just going to not pay attention as to whether there's the modeling paste or whether it's just the plain paper. And I'm just going to scribble on some of my crayon and get some color on my paper. And I'm going to get the darkest color. It doesn't actually matter which one you're going to do first, because you're going to color them pretty much at the same time. So that one, like I say, was peacock feathers, and this one is rustic wilderness. And we'll put some of that up. I do like this rustic wilderness. I like that. I like the peacock too, but it's a nice, pretty blue. Green is my favorite color, and so when I can really like a green that I have, so I really need to play with these crayons more. So I'll just get some color on here like this, and then I'm going to take a brush, and I've got a, this is a size 18 filbert brush, 18, yes, and just some water, and I'm just going to blend these colors out. Not really worried about where they're going to go, if they go on top of each other, whatever. I'll do one color, and then I'll turn around and do the other color like this. There we go. And I'll just work at it until I get all of these colors blended out like there we go. So what I'm doing is I'm making, like I said, a bunch of collage papers, or actually, you know, some of these can even be folded in half and put right in your journal as a page, or cut them up and use them for pockets. Or there's so many uses for papers like this. I like to use them for collage, but you could use them for, you know, whatever you want. So just kind of rinsing my brush off now, and I'm going to go into the peacock feathers and I'm going to blend that out. And I'm very, very happy with the way these two colors look together. I think they match quite well. So we'll just get this moved around here, and yeah, I think this one's really pretty. So anyhow, back to the papers that I'm doing. So I am making different kinds. I have like 2 or 3 different kinds behind me that I've been working on. And if you stay tuned, and you'll get to see hopefully most of the papers that I'm going to do, how I'm going to do them, and then what I'm going to do with them afterwards. I guess this is kind of going to be like a little bit of a series. I hate to commit to saying, oh, I'm doing a series, because, you know, if you know me by now, you know I'm not all that trustworthy. I'm not all that, I feel I'm dedicated and committed, but I kind of bounce from one thing to another, to another, to another. And sometimes I don't always finish a project before I start on my next project. I don't know. I'll just bet that some of you have that same problem, right? You started on something and then you see something else. You're like, oh, I'd like to try that. And so we switch to another one. Now, the sheet music, it reacts just a little bit different. I put my crayons away. I'm not quite sure why I put my crayons away, but let's get them back out here. So peacock feathers and rustic wilderness. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to spread my color on. And this one seems to have a lot of space where I did not get the modeling paste, and that's okay. That's fine. So most of the screen is going where there isn't any modeling paste, and you'll see that it reacts different. Now, the reason I'm having you watch me do a second one is because I'm waiting for that first one to dry a little bit before we move forward. And I thought, well, it doesn't hurt to see it done again, right? Repeat, and it stays in your mind maybe a little bit better. I don't know. It does mine. I tend to need to be reminded of things quite frequently, actually. So some of the other papers that I have done have been, again, with the modeling paste, and they also have some of the beads that I had made in on that too. And then some of the other papers have been with napkins, which doesn't really have anything to do with the modeling paste, other than at the top of the page there was some extra room, so I just spread some modeling paste on the top, and probably we would tear that off and use it in another project, or the same project in a different area, you know. So I'll show you that. And let's see. Oh, I did some more of the, we call it something. It's with the tissue paper, and then we collage on top. Faux rice paper. It's not as involved as the last rice paper that I made. It just is with tissue paper and then some old, and excuse me, let me correct myself. It's not with tissue paper. It's with when the napkins, when you pull off that outer, layer on it, because you only use one layer of the napkin. I used that napkin, and then I made a collage on top of it to make some faux rice paper. It was kind of getting it off. The wax paper was kind of tricky because it really didn't want to come off. But it wasn't very thick. The papers I put on were old, so they weren't very thick either. And it just wasn't very substantial, and it was ripping. And at first I thought, oh, this is kind of disappointing. And then the more I looked at it, I'm like, you know what? For collage papers, and having it have all those little holes and stuff in it, it's perfect. If I would have tried planning it that way, it wouldn't have turned out that way. Not as nice anyhow, because this is so random. Okay, so there we have our second page done. Now, we're going to go back to this page, and I'm going to take my Frayed Burlap. Now, with just the plain watercolors, here I did my green and I did my yellow, And then I went back in with a smaller watercolor brush, and I dabbed in some of the brown color so that it gave kind of like an outline to some of my watercolor puddles that I had here. But we're going to do it with this crayon, the Frayed Burlap, and I'm just going to go in here like it wherever there isn't any ink or watercolor, and I'm just going to go along the edge of the watercolor, and I can see right now that appears to be a little bit of a waxy thing to this paper. I don't know why there would be something waxy there, but maybe that's just my modeling paste. Yeah, how it's reacting on this paper. I don't know. It didn't do it with the watercolors. So anyhow, I'm outlining an area like this, and then I'll take my smaller brush and very carefully, I'm just going to go in. Now, if you go a straight line, you're going to get a straight line of your border here. If you go like this, you get a little bit jagged, and I like the jagged better. It just makes it appear to be more random for a border, and it just more natural, I think, than what a straight line would be. And then I'll just turn it over and I'll do the other side. And if it's not enough color for you, you can always go back after it dries just a little bit. Here it's getting a little bit darker, and add a little more color. I like this with the blue and the green being a very light color. I like this with this one, this Frayed Burlap pencil. So this is all I do to these papers so far. I mean, just to get them started, and then I'll let these dry while I go back and I'll work on something else. After these are dry, I'll come back to these. And so I'm kind of just working back and forth, and like I say, I have so many piles of paper, and it's time to use them up. Use them up or gift them and get rid of them. And I probably actually could do myself a pretty good stash of these papers, plus gift them too, you know. I'm also going to guess that there's a bunch of you that are in the same boat as I am. We tend to like to hoard our supplies a little bit. Collectors, I think, is what we are. This, I really, really like this blue and this green together, and then with this Frayed Burlap as a accent color. To me, this is just really, really pretty. So, well, I'll try to get at least one of these papers done without you getting too bored. But I have another announcement to make while I'm working away here. You can watch. I'm cleaning out my Etsy shop, and what I want to do is I have everything on sale. Everything is 25% off except for the journals, and they are 15% off. I have the sale set until the 30th, and it started. I have the sale set until the 30th, but I may go longer. It depends on how supplies are going and if they, you know, get used up. It is just for what's available in the shop now. It's not for any special orders, and it's also, yeah, I guess that would be repeating myself, not for any special orders. So. But I do have, guys, I have some pretty nice journals in there. If you're looking for a journal and needing a journal, there's a sunflower journal in there. Before Sammy so rudely interrupted, anyhow, I didn't really find out what she wanted. I thought maybe she wanted outside. But I do have the sunflower journal is in there. The writing journal is still available. There are some fabric covered littler journals. I think there's still one of the nature journal left that is a very simple one signature journal with some echo printing in it. They're all in there, and I do believe they all have a flip through on my Yoo-hoo page too. You can go there and check the flip through out if you want to see them more. So, and then there's quite a bit of ephemera in there, or on the site still. But if I can get it moved out, I can make room for new stuff. Of course, with Etsy, of course, you know you don't have to make room, but it is a good thing to clean out the shop every now and then and fill it with new stuff. So that's my plan, is to move the journals that I have and then make some more ephemera and put in there. Different ephemera, different journal. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to go with it actually right now. So let's just get, so we have this pretty well done, and I can finish it, like when we come back to it to finish it, to put different things on it, then I can, you can see it when it's completely done. But that's the way that looks. And to me, that is just so yummy. I really like that done like this. I like that color. So I think I'll probably do the rest of my papers that I've picked out for this technique with the watercolor crayons. So I hope you have enjoyed this little quickie video here and enjoyed the project. And if you have some watercolor crayons, they do not have to be Tim Holtz. They can be watercolor pencils. I have another brand that I bought of watercolor crayons before Tim Holtz came out, and they're, I think, a Lyra brand. They were nice enough at the time. They are grainier, much grainier than the Tim Holtz ones. So I do like these a lot better than the other ones that I have. Probably someday I'll have to regift that set to somebody, but my grandkids tend to get a bunch of stuff. Okay, well, stop back in again. I'll have another video on finishing these and starting another project for you for collage papers. Have a great day. Bye now.